It really is about, getting ready for this thing. It's an unusual thing, so
Gotcha.
and we are live right now, and your microphones are hot. So if you wouldn't say it to the whole world, don't say it now.
That's a good thing to tell me. I'm one of those people you don't want to put on speakerphone.
Oh, really?
I've never heard that.
Yeah.
That's all right. Well, for those of you that are watching right now or tuning in, as you can tell, we're about to start our third Eclipse Experience program. This is with Kim Williams and Tim Jacobsen, and they are getting Arkansas ready for a total eclipse in 2024. So, pretty exciting stuff, and we're going to find out what it is from their side of trying to get ready for this massive event. Well, hello everybody. This is Scott Roberts from Explore Scientific and the Explore Alliance, and this is our special program called Eclipse Experience. We've already had a couple of programs. Our first one was with Michael Zeiler and Michael Bakich of the Great American Eclipse team, the ones that put together all those great books and visualizations and stuff about the eclipse. And they're supplying information that's going to be used not only here in the United States but around the world, and so that's very cool. Our second program was Dr. Steve Edberg, retired JPL planetary scientist and amateur astronomer. He was, he helped us get ready for the lunar eclipse that we just had on November 8th. But now we're going to talk to Kim Williams, who is she is the project manager for the 2024 Great American Eclipse for Arkansas Tourism. And, she's a travel writer involved in Arkansas Department of Parks and Heritage and Tourism, a very busy lady. And on top of that, so she's covering like all of Arkansas. Tim Jacobsen is the executive director for the Fort Smith Convention Visitors Bureau. Okay, and more localized, but nevertheless still got a big job on his hands to somehow manage all the people that are going to be coming in through Fort Smith, because it is a major way into Arkansas. And you can count on people from Oklahoma and other states driving down these highways, going through Fort Smith, trying to get to the center line. And so I'm going to bring on bring on everybody. How about that? So let's see. We'll put us like in gallery mode here. So thank you for coming on, Kim and Tim.
Hey, it's my pleasure. I can't speak for Tim, but for me, this is great.
I love it. Appreciate to be here and talk about Fort Smith and the Eclipse.
Absolutely. Now, it was nice. You guys came to Explore Scientific. We got a chance to meet and talk a little bit about it. Both of you are high energy people, and that's exactly, I think that's what's required to pull off a massive event like this. And so let's start with both of you just kind of talking about how you got involved in this, eclipse planning. Kim, I'll let you go first.
Sure. In 2017, most of Arkansas, if not all of Arkansas, had a partial eclipse during the Great American Eclipse. And so my bosses at Arkansas Tourism said, hey, go out to the state park. Mississippi River State Park's about 10 minutes from where I live, and take photos, because they're going to be doing, special events, get photos with people with their glasses on, make sure they're legit glasses. And so I did, and I thought, why are they having me do this? And then someone said, well, because we're going to have one in 2024. So starting, I believe it was in 2018, we had people speaking at our Arkansas Governor's Conference on Tourism. And in 2019, we had Dr. C. Alex Young, who is a NASA astrophysicist from, and I just went blank, whatever is near Washington, that's in Maryland, Goddard Space Center.
Goddard Space Center, yes.
Goddard Space Center. And I mean, I told you guys when we met in Springdale, I am a NASA nerd. My dad grew up in the time of, Gemini and Apollo and Man on the Moon. And so I love anything NASA, and getting to meet an astrophysicist from Goddard was, it was a total fangirl moment for me. So my bosses saw that, I was on the front row, like I was at some concert or something. And they're like, you'd be interested in being the project manager for the state. Obviously, this is something that you enjoy. And I'm like, absolutely. So normally I'm pretty much centered in the eastern section of Arkansas. Mm-hmm. But with this, I've been able to travel all over the state trying to help our tourism partners and just trying to tell them what a huge event this is going to be.
Right.
And I mean, I try, and Scott, I truly believe that you will back me up on that
yes,
it most likely will be the biggest event that Arkansas has ever seen.
I would agree with that. Yes. I would absolutely agree with that. Having seen firsthand what happened I was in Casper, Wyoming during totality in 2017, and I've been to a couple of eclipses before. I'm not an eclipse expert by any stretch of the imagination, but my company does supply eclipse products that put us kind of at the spotlight on us to be at some special events, and so that has included other eclipses I've gone to supply gear and stuff like that for filming or making video of an eclipse. And so it's been really, really interesting to watch how these people work. But one of the things that does happen is tons and tons of people come in from not only nearby areas, but they will fly in from around the world. And so you can, the massive amount of influx of people that will come in that will need visitor bureau type of attention. The hotel's got to be ready for them. Restaurants, have to stock up on food because they're going to sell more food. They're going to sell more of everything, gasoline, anything that might be a consumable by a traveler is going to be consumed at a rate that they've not ever seen before.
You know,
That's
one of
true.
the things, whenever I speak, like I spoke to a group of business owners in Heber Springs this morning, and I said, you know, all we know is what we learned in 2017. And
Mhm.
in 2017, no one had seen, there had not been a full solar eclipse over the continental United States in nearly 100 years, from 1917 or 1918 to 2017. So the good thing about that is we were able to build off of the lessons they learned.
Mhm.
And when I go to speak to our communities, and I have to say that, you know, just because a community is not in the path of totality does not mean that they are not going to see a huge influx of visitors,
Right.
because they
That's
have to
right.
have somewhere to stay.
That's right.
And they're not going to all be able to stay within the path of totality.
That's right.
And one of the other things that we at Arkansas Tourism found so fascinating is that in 2017, every state that, and I believe there were 12, that was in that path of totality had record visitation, and they had record economic impact,
Right.
to such a number that most people, I believe, were surprised. So we're really excited. We feel that it will be the biggest event Arkansas has seen in a very long time, and will probably be the biggest until 2045, when the next one rolls around. But we
Eclipses
won't be
have a way
new
of
to
doing
it.
this.
We won't
Okay.
be new to it. We will have experienced it at least once.
Right.
So
That's right. That's right. Well, let's go to Tim and get your take on the same aspect here, Tim. You have the challenge of getting everyone ready in maybe Fort Smith. I don't know, maybe in a greater area than that. But what is your responsibility in all of this? And I know that you're super thrilled that the eclipse is coming through as well. You know.
Absolutely. And my overall responsibility is within the city limits of Fort Smith as far as our organization is represented, but our reach is well beyond that. So I've been here in Arkansas for about 2 years, and I came from Missouri. So I was able to experience the eclipse in 2017. So I was really excited when I came to Arkansas to find Kim and the Arkansas tourism was really, taking this event seriously, and trying to get their arms around it, and to us it's all about the experience that we're going to be able to deliver these people when they arrive. If obviously, if you look at the path, the highest totality draws a line right through the most rural parts of Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
And so the way we see it is there's going to be people that will go south towards Little Rock, one of the major cities, for lodging, food, different attractions and things to do around, the actual event. And there's people that are going to go north towards us and for what we have to offer. And then we're going to see a wealth of individuals coming over from Oklahoma into our totality here in Fort Smith. So it's really exciting. We're going to be a big central focal point for this. And it was also exciting that our local emergency management already had this on their radar.
No, that's good.
And, they did their research again with a lot of help from Kim. Scott, when you first called me, we had a meeting here in Fort Smith to try to work with our emergency management and start introducing this event into more of our stakeholders in the tourism industry with the community.
Mm-hmm.
You happened to catch part of that and gave me a call. And I think you were impressed with all the great things we had to say. And then,
Yeah.
and I don't know how impressed you were afterwards when I told you that everything I said,
Even more so.
So Kim has been a wealth of information, and anytime I have a question related to anything to do with the eclipse, I can go to Kim, and she gets the answers for us. So being able to collaborate with everybody throughout the state, I think is vitally important. And the number of people that are going to come to our community are not necessarily coming here for our community. They're coming here because of the eclipses in our community. But this gives us a great opportunity to showcase our community to these people that may not have come here, for that particular reason. And we've just got a great community that embraces different events, and we have a lot of infrastructure within our community that we can really deliver that experience. And that's what our goal is here from the Convention Visitor Bureau, is whether you're coming for a conference, you're coming for leisure, or you're coming for an event like the Eclipse, we want you to have a positive experience. And that doesn't happen on its own, especially when you're talking about the infiltration of people. And you want to be careful in how we're planning everything, because at top of mind has to be safety for all these individuals.
Sure.
And we learned from history. We learned a lot from what happened in 17 in Missouri, from my knowledge of being there, and then all the other areas that we've learned about here recently from 17 that were more in the totality. So we're really excited. We're on the ground level of developing different committees and groups to look at all the different aspects of the things that we need to do to, again, deliver that great experience to individuals when that event goes on. We know that we're going to see people here for pre and post eclipse, staying for a larger number of average days, not just coming in for that particular event. And we want to be prepared for that, and we want to have things for them to do around the eclipse itself as well. So it's exciting. The collaboration is really what it gives us our knowledge and our foresight to make sure that we're planning and doing everything we can possible. So I appreciate that. I've learned a lot from you. You're a wealth of resources and as well. And so it's really, this is.
I'm just a cheerleader for eclipses.
This is something is not in my wheelhouse,
But astronomical events belong to everybody. And just in the state of Arkansas, 1.7 million people live in the path of totality. So that's 1.7. Now, you guys will have to remind me what the population of Arkansas is, but I think it's somewhere between 3 and 4 million people.
Yeah, the last time I looked, it was right at 3 million.
3 million. So over half of the population of Arkansas lives in the path. Okay.
Yes. Now I looked at the 20.
Now you take the rest of Arkansas on either side of this path that's coming through, and of course they're going to want to drive to it. That's probably a 1 to 2 or 3 hour drive to get there, and then you have Memphis on one side, you've got Oklahoma on the other side. How many more people do you think what are you telling people? How many more people do you think will come?
I'm very hesitant when people ask me that question, because again, it's all conjecture. Unless we put RSVPs on arkansas.com and say, unless you fill this out,
you can't come in.
You just can't come in. I will tell you, and I believe it was Michael Zeiler. I believe. So if I'm misquoting, and maybe it was someone else, but someone told me, and I've emailed with Michael several times, that in 2017, it ended up that the visitation was somewhere that you could expect about half of your population. I
think that's a conservative number.
Exactly. So saying that, we could be looking at 1.5 million people. The thing about it, again, we go back learning what we learned in 2017. Arkansas is so much more. It's more centrally located than many of the states are in 2024 or were in 2017. And so I really think that is going to be a huge plus for us. Plus, that I think we can count on our visitors this time that are in the path of totality, like Tennessee was in 2017. But we've got Mississippi and Alabama and Georgia, parts of Florida. And of course, there's that wonderful map that I believe the Great American Eclipse folks.
Yeah, Michael Zeiler does.
Yeah.
That's his forte.
Did the projection of traffic.
Yes.
Using, the fact that the shortest distance between any 2 points is a straight line.
Right.
Well, you take that into consideration, and anyone driving from Washington State and Oregon and then coming east, the quickest way for them to get to the path of totality is Arkansas.
Oh, wow. I did not realize that.
Yes. And that is, when you look at that map, it's
so, yeah, and it makes sense. It's right in the center of the United States.
Exactly.
And, right.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So, who knows?
Go ahead.
I mean, we have really no clue. I can tell you that we are already getting emails and phone calls of people saying, I want to be in Arkansas. Just last week, someone sent an email and it was forwarded to me, and they were from Florida and said, these are the specifics I want. I want to be on a lake in the Ozarks, and I want to rent a houseboat for 5 days.
Yeah.
And that's something from the tourism standpoint that you all mentioned. We don't expect that the eclipse is on a Monday, for people that may not just know that. We don't expect them to come in on Saturday and Sunday. We expect them to come on Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday. And so people are making an experience out of it because it is an experience. I mean, I have never seen a full solar eclipse.
Mm-hmm.
I was in a partial when I was in grade school. I had the partial in 2017. And I am so excited because everyone that I have spoken with that has been in a full solar eclipse say that it is nothing short of life-changing, because everything you know to be true at that point in time, for us, it's about 1 o'clock on a Monday afternoon, just changes. It just absolutely changes.
Yes. Yeah, you are. There are a few things that can happen to you. You know, you can be in a super violent storm. You can be in a terrible car accident, these kinds of things, which are both negative things, but the impact of a total solar eclipse, which will leave no scars, okay? except maybe the scar of, like, you can't believe what you just saw, okay? Is definitely going to be with you, and it's going to be lifelong. You know, I fully expect all the eclipses that I've seen, which again have been only 3, they're still burned in my brain. I can still see them in my head, okay, having watched them. So Pekka Hautala is watching from Stockholm, Sweden right now. And he says a solar eclipse is the most 3D experience I've ever had in astronomy. Yeah. And Pekka is an advanced amateur astronomer, so we have a nice audience watching us. We have people from Belgium and Sweden and around the United States watching our program right now, and more will be watching it later. But from your standpoint, Tim, I think Fort Davis, I mean, when I go to Oklahoma or I go to Texas, okay, I come back home through Fort Davis, okay? And then, you know, I live up here in Northwest Arkansas, which I think will also be another place where a ton of people will rent rooms and want to stay and stuff like that. But I think that Fort Smith is actually, you're probably closer to the path of totality than we are.
Yeah, and we're being right on the border of Oklahoma. Any events we do here in Fort Smith, we see a large contingency of people from eastern Oklahoma, coming over into Fort Smith. So in our area is predominantly a drive market, as most of Arkansas really is. And as Kim nailed it with the central location. So we're not only expecting people to be here for the 2 to 4 minute event. We're expecting people to be here for, a week or two, a rounded event. And, it's like, we're a town of 90,000 people. If we get 50,000 people here, that's just like saying, hey, we're going to go play Arkansas football in Fort Smith today and have a home game right here in Fort Smith and every town in Arkansas. So
that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's
so
right.
It's, and our area offers and I think it goes beyond just the eclipse. I think when people start to look at where they want to go, there's a lot of areas that they can view the eclipse from.
Right.
So the second, thought is, well, what else is there to do? And, Fort Smith has such a rich history of, our Western heritage and culture. People don't realize all of the Western and heritage culture. This is where the West began. Okay. This is where.
Okay. I did not realize this. Okay.
You've got, we have the U.S. Marshals Museum that's going to be opening here, and there's a reason it's opening here. A large percentage of the U.S. Marshals that lost their life in battle lost them right here on the battles in Oklahoma and Arkansas. Wow. So, my office right here is in the only bordello on the National Historic, the place of historic places. So
he's not joking.
There used to be 10 of them right down the road here. And
okay, this is the last remaining one.
Train come by. This is like where the Wild West met New Orleans. It was really a area at the time, and this area has done a great job of transforming from a manufacturing town per se to really grabbing hold of its Western heritage and culture, and then incorporating a lot of art into it as well. We have 17 murals throughout our city that are done by international artists.
Very cool.
That's an attraction in itself. So
yeah. That's right.
Arkansas has some of the most unique and best dining, and my shirt size since I moved here tells me that. So there's just so much else to do and so much beauty in Arkansas.
That's right. It's not called the natural state for a reason, right? I mean,
exactly.
It is spectacular. It's beautiful.
They're going to have a lot of time outside that 2 to 4 minutes that they're going to have to fill with things to do. And there's no better place to be than Arkansas to do that.
Well, one of the things I'll caution anyone that's watching this program, if you're going to the center line, you can't just drive up there, look at it, go, okay, this eclipse is, 4 minutes long or 3 minutes and change, depending on where you're at. And then just get in your car and leave, okay? Because that's what many people try to do, and it causes traffic jams that you'll be stuck in all day for. So I would recommend that if you go see an eclipse, that you plan 1 or 2 days of staying in the area until traffic clears out, because it will be crazy like that. So
and that's one thing, Scott, that we're pushing through Arkansas Tourism is the concept of come early and stay late, but stay put. And by stay put at 3:15 on Monday, April 8th, 2024, don't plan on jumping, in your vehicle and trying to hit Interstate 30 or Interstate 40 or anything like that. And so I would like to say, though, you were talking about especially the international people watching. We would love for you to come to Arkansas. I'll be happy to give anybody my email address and email me.
Okay.
One of the things that we learned, again, and I talk a lot about lessons learned from 2017, is that especially in Wyoming, there was a statistic that about between 50 and 70% of the people that showed up in Wyoming for the eclipse had never been to Wyoming before.
Sure.
Now that is a tourism person's dream. To get a huge crowd like that's never been to Arkansas. And the thing about Arkansas, and I'm not in any way trying to diss our, neighboring states, but with Arkansas, there are so many different experiences you can get for this eclipse. You can be on top of a mountain. You can be on the First National River. You can be in an urban area. You can be in a natural area or a wildlife area. So it really all depends on how you want to experience it. And that's one of the things that we're trying to curate on the website is, decide what you want to do and then email us and we'll help you figure it out.
Oh, wow. So like a counselor that's going to,
absolutely.
A travel counselor.
Absolutely.
Because I'll be honest with you guys, I'm from California. Okay. And when I decided to move Explore Scientific to Arkansas, my friends pulled me aside and said, Scott, if you lost your mind, okay, you're leaving California to go to Arkansas, what could possibly be out there? Okay. Now, I'd already known that it was a beautiful state, and and certainly I know some of the drawbacks of California. Like how about water? Okay, there's that's always an issue out there. It's not much of an issue here in Arkansas. We have incredible cold water springs. Really wonderful, fresh tasting water. I mean, right out of the tap, so it's beautiful. The skies are, pollution is almost non existent. When we have people visit us from China, okay, we have visitors coming in from China. The first thing they do is breathe the outside air. They just want to stand outside and breathe the air because it's so clean, okay? And we take it for granted here. It's like, everybody takes for granted what's in their own backyard. But Arkansas also has, incredible arts. Maybe one of the crown museums is the Crystal Bridges Museum here in Northwest Arkansas. But when you drive around Arkansas and you go to Little Rock or Fort Smith or, many other towns, they embrace not only their local heritage, but they embrace a artistic cultural heritage too. That's a little unexpected, okay, to be very honest. So that's that is something that I think that people will be surprised about. They'll see the natural beauty of the state. They'll realize they can go fishing and camping and hunting or whatever it is they like to do, and that is not as easy to do in some states, for sure. And I know that, so certainly in California, you want to go on a camping trip, this is a pretty long thought out process, okay? And in Arkansas, you decide you want to go camping that weekend, no problem, okay? You're going.
Quit telling them
we've got 50
here.
Exactly. We've got 52 state parks. That just happens to be
Right.
one a weekend.
Right.
Ooh, hey, do y'all have a program for that? That'd be a cool program to give everybody a 52 patch.
We did. We have a passport. We also had a geocache series at one point.
Yeah,
And-
but literally, a park a weekend for 52 weeks and get
Exactly.
a passport.
Exactly.
That'd be cool.
So, I've always said if I can get people to come to Arkansas, I do not worry about them coming back.
Right. Yes, that's right.
Good.
So, okay, let's just take this so-called conservative number of 1.5 million visitors, okay, coming in. Can Arkansas handle that?
Yes. No, I truly believe that we can handle it. I think it's going to take some planning.
Yeah.
I think it's going to take some patience.
Yes.
And I often have told people this is not our event. This is an event that we are welcoming people. This is for our visitors.
Right.
I've no doubt that we can handle it. And
Right.
we worked a lot, and Scott, you and I talked about this, that you were in Casper in 2017.
Yeah.
We worked a lot with Brooke Kaufman, who was CEO at that point of Visit Casper. And she told me, she said, Kim, here's the thing. She said, you all can do nothing. You can do no planning whatsoever. And people are coming.
They're coming anyways. That's right.
Regardless. And it is pretty amazing how often we do get emails saying, can you tell me more about it? I would like the lady in Florida. I want to be on a lake. I want to be in the Ozarks. I want to do this and this. And for us, it again is an opportunity to show off this beautiful state that we live in. And for people like me that's lived here my entire life, take for granted a lot of times.
Yeah.
One of the other things that really excites me, though, is that in the tourism industry, and I think Tim will agree with me, in the state, we're competing against each other. Fort Smith may have a festival at the same time Fayetteville is having a festival, or Helena's having a festival the same time West Memphis is. We are not competing against each other during this eclipse. I truly believe that there will be enough people to go around for everybody, and especially our
Well,
smaller communities.
what I'll add to that is, I work in a very competitive environment selling telescopes, okay? And there are lots of us that sell eclipse glasses and products for the eclipse and stuff. And one of the things that we realized about 3 or 4 weeks into it, I mean, before the eclipse would happen, is that none of us could supply enough eclipse glasses, eclipse materials, solar film, none of that, because so many people wanted to do it and more were coming. They were flying in, they were driving in, and so you're absolutely correct about that. There will be so much to go around that competition will not be part of the game. And this is why that you find that the eclipse enthusiasts of the world are very community minded. Of course, there's the iconic eclipse people in this community. Like Jay Pasakoff and Mike Zeiler, and these names are thrown around. Fred Espinack's another one. That even they are giving of all the information that they know, because they want people to have this experience, this eclipse experience. And so I think it's wonderful what you're doing. Tim, you talked about safety a couple of times here. What do you know from the highway patrol or the state safety constituents? What are they expecting, and how are they preparing for it?
I think that having two major eclipse events 7 years apart, we haven't lost our memory. It's very easy to look back 7 years. Well, it's not even 7 years because it's 2022 right now. So we're looking back 5 years. There's a lot of good information there still that our emergency management people are able to obtain, and so that's the phase that they're really in right now, and have been in it for a while. Is collecting all of that information, understanding, you had a campground in Wyoming that popped up in the middle of a field with 2,700 campers.
Yeah.
You had a small airport with 225 planes fly in. That raises the hair on anybody in emergency management. And, and it's not old information, in 17, I don't know how long before that there was, an eclipse, but with what's going on now is they're really, like Kim is doing every day out, educating more and more people in the smaller communities. And we'll do a presentation, or they'll hold a presentation from Kim, and you'll have, somebody, in a small community all of a sudden go to their mayor and say, hey, anything about this eclipse in 24? I just saw this presentation and it's crazy. And then when they see it, they're like, oh my gosh, wow, I'm glad you brought me here. We need to know about this. So we're still in that phase of really introducing what this is, the reality of this is going to be based off of history throughout our whole, not just Fort Smith, but all the surrounding counties. If you're going to bring in double your population, well, you're going to have double the car wrecks, double the heart attacks.
Double everything.
Yeah, you really have to think about that, and you've got to make sure your resources aren't spread too thin. We don't need to go off on a tangent from a tourism perspective and have 32 different viewing areas, that can't be managed. It's interesting to see how everybody does come together and collaborate, and we're not fighting for the business. I think everybody's of the mindset.
The business will be there.
There's enough business for everybody.
Right.
We just want to be able to handle the business that's coming to us.
That's right.
And then once we get over that little bit of a scare, okay, what's going to really happen? Then the minds start to change of, what do we need to do to implement? What, not only for safety, but again, for that experience.
Sure.
As opposed to being caught off guard and say, man, there hasn't been one of these for years. We had no idea this was going to happen.
Right. And then, of course, to
Americans
leave
today,
Arkansas with a
very short
smile on
memory.
their face. Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's what that's the plan,
That's-
Stan. Yeah,
that's right.
that's what we hope will happen. And again, like I said, for us, it being so centrally located, and we've not even talked about the difference in the 2017 eclipse and the 2024 eclipse. I mean, a path of totality that's nearly twice as wide, and longest time of darkness that's nearly twice as long. I mean,
Yeah.
the longest in 2017 was 2 minutes and 45 seconds. In Arkansas alone, there are places that will have 4 minutes and 18 seconds of pure darkness.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is
so
just
cool.
unbelievable.
Right. Right. So, as you're describing this, you're giving these presentations. By the way, how many presentations a week or a day are you giving?
Let's see. I've given 4 this week.
Okay.
Excuse me. I gave one on Monday, gave one on Tuesday, gave one today. I have one tomorrow in Russellville at Arkansas Tech University. I'm speaking in Pine Bluff on Monday. And then I've got 2 whole weeks where I'm not doing anything.
Holy smokes.
And part of that is Thanksgiving.
Call Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then I have a week-long travel show. Let me also say that you were talking about your national viewers that are watching now. We go to several trade shows, travel shows.
Okay.
And we do one each the week after Christmas. Or excuse me, Thanksgiving. It's called Travel South International, and it's the only southern states and all of these international tour operators and things like that.
Uh-huh.
We have already basically sold 2 trips in the UK for 2 coaches of 45 people each. People that think, okay, well, it's just going to be people around here. I mean,
Yeah.
you spoke to that earlier. It's not. It's going to be national. It's going to be international.
Yes, it will. Yes, it will.
And we're excited again about that possibility of showing off our beautiful state to new people, because it is.
And I know the news media is going to latch onto this, and they're going to be interviewing people as the eclipse happens and everything. But for those of you that are thinking about an eclipse and you've never been to one, you've never planned for one, this is really the first one on your radar, and you're thinking, well, that's a couple of years away, okay? I mean, how long does it take to go buy some eclipse glasses and drive out to the center line somewhere, okay? They're thinking, okay, they're going, all right, how many miles is that? It'll take me about 4.5 hours to get there. I'll buy the eclipse glasses, have them delivered, 2 to 4 weeks in advance. Yeah, done. I'm good. Okay. Nope. Okay.
So, Scott, it's funny because it's interesting in the very beginning, and even now, when we'll be talking to different groups or they see Kim's presentation, they're like, oh, this is in 24? What? We got
why are we even talking about this, right?
Time.
2 Christmases before this. What's going on? And then they get through the presentation, they're like, oh, okay.
Oh, this is why.
Now we need to, and now we know why we're here.
Yeah. So, Kim, you have done a number of these things. Tim, I think you're also doing them. What is the level of disbelief that it's going to be a big deal?
I think when you talk about it, that doesn't go as far as some of the research and factual information and pictures and numbers that you have, especially some of the pictures that you have from and the stories that are validated from 17. And as Kim has said, I think this is a much larger magnitude than that. So, what happens is every time we talk about it in a group, whether it's 5 people, 10 people, or 50, they go tell 5 more people.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And then they're digging for information. So again, this thing is going to continue to multiply in interest
and mushroom
planning and hopefully participation and implementing as well. That there's, and then it's caused a little bit of a frenzy in some areas because everybody's trying to get the closest porta potties now. Everybody's trying to get the closest, shuttle buses, and we have to go into like Missouri to get porta potties. Just because everybody's saying, okay, well, we need to jump on this pretty quickly. So
absolutely,
yeah. So
absolutely.
this type of an event, in our industry, people plan far out. They may plan where they're going to go far out. Even in a convention, they may book 5 or 6 years out, but they don't plan it until a year before.
Exactly.
And so that's, I think, when reality is really going to set in about a year out. Because
I agree with that.
You do have a lot of your brand hotels. They don't even open up their rates until 55 weeks out. So there's a lot of people that can't. There's hotels that are brand hotels that are writing down names, and keeping a list. So when their hotel opens up, they can call the people and say, okay, this is going to be the rate. This is the terms, minimum stays and things like that you're going to see the hotels obviously do. Even the bus tours and stuff that are coming, the bus tours that want to come and stay one night, they're not going to find anywhere to stay.
No.
It's the groups that are booking, like Kim's talking about, that are going to stay in a location for 4 or 5 nights.
Right.
So, and the true operators know that, and that's how they're going about and looking at booking. But it's interesting, to see, and it's interesting to see all the reaction from people, and then I think it's the proof will be in the pudding when they all show up.
Right.
I think one thing that's important, very important, what Tim said, as we move toward April 8th of 2023, I just finished, all of the travel writers with Arkansas Tourism just wrote brand new content for our Eclipse page. We are going to be working with national media to get them to come to Arkansas on April 8th, 2023, to basically give them a preview. Please let it be sunny. And say, you can go on this lake, or, you can go on the Buffalo, or, you can go here or there. And so I think that is going to bring a lot of, especially in-state, not marketing, but people are going to get out there, and the media is going to be covering it more, and I think people are going to say, this.
Well, they're going to show the beauty of Arkansas. That's what they're going to show. So it's like watching the Rose Bowl, and you see the beauty of the mountains behind Pasadena, and you go, wow, that's a great place to live.
Exactly.
Well, Pasadena is a super expensive place to live, but they'll see Arkansas and see that there's they can make a life change here. And beautiful. That's what a lot of people have done. It's what I've done,
Beautiful and affordable.
And very affordable. That's right.
Exactly.
That's right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We want everyone that comes to have a fabulous time. We do. But on that flip side, we also want our tourism partners to have a wonderful experience for their communities and attractions and lodges and things like that, as well as an economic impact. That's the thing, I believe, is that in 2017, none of us, I'll speak for myself. I can't speak for Tim on a tourism standpoint, but I never would have thought, like, for example, in South Carolina, their economic impact was $269 million for 5 days.
Right.
1.6 million people showed up. And again, we have to realize that this is not just an event inside that path of totality. It is an event for all of Arkansas. I have talked to more people that would say, I couldn't get in the path of totality in 2017, so I drove 4 hours to get to the path.
To the path. That's right. They stay outside. Exactly. Actually, hotels will be less expensive, but nevertheless, you want to be planning things out as far as you can. You want to try to secure your rental agreements and stuff as quickly as you can. and you want to be tuned in to people like Tim and Kim here because they're going to help you navigate all this stuff, and that's what the visitor bureaus are all about. So I think that I'm happy to have met both of you, it's from my perspective, we do things, where we go somewhere and we're at an event, but to think about trying to coordinate an entire state or an entire region, of a state is daunting. I mean, it really is, and as you say, the money will be flowing in. I think people spend on a 4-day vacation, family vacation, driving vacation, probably somewhere between $300 and $700, per family.
Scott, something I wanted to say.
So maybe per person even.
Something I wanted to say is that, our industry with technology today is we're flooded with data. We're flooded with economic impacts. And do they have multipliers? Are they real? Are they just trying to make their events sound good? I think that the numbers get lost. I think if you're out there in the community and you're saying, wow, okay, now we need to start getting prepared for this.
Yeah.
In my opinion, what goes a lot farther than numbers is some of the collateral in the pictures. When you see the airports with the planes lined up, you see the fields with the campers in them. I think that has a much bigger impact. And in my history of showing it to just a few people we've shown them to, we sit there and talk numbers, and they're like this, and we show pictures, and they're like, oh my gosh.
Oh yeah, then it all comes home.
And so I think that's something important. If you're out there trying to educate people in your community to get prepared for this, then I would suggest you do like Kim has done and that I've stole from her. And I'm sure you can steal from her too,
Absolutely.
or where she stole them from. But there is a lot of great pictures out there from 17.
Yeah. If you need to get some confirmation, you just need to Google images and look at 2017 Eclipse.
That's what raised the eyebrows. That's what raised the eyebrows.
That's right. You don't have to go and prove it.
And mayors in small towns just listening to the numbers we showed the pictures. They're like, somebody's going to do that in my backyard.
Exactly.
It'll be like Woodstock, where they just park their cars almost anywhere and pour into the fields.
Exactly
And
right.
People knocking on your door saying, hey, can I pitch a tent in your yard and I'll give you, $30 a night. I don't need electricity. I don't need water. I don't need any of that. I just
$30 a night would be a bargain if you could get it.
Most definitely. It most definitely. Definitely would. So
this is really cool. I'm really glad you guys came on. Is there anything else that you would like to say to people? I mean, there's maybe we should just talk about just for a little bit about some of the challenges that you do see as you get closer to the eclipse.
I think for me, it is like Tim said, seeing that people are realizing that this is just not hype. It's showing the photos. There is a great photo with the Hollywood sign in the back.
Yeah.
Just thousands of people just standing literally shoulder to shoulder. And, we were very lucky.
This is for the 2017 eclipse, right?
Yes, for 2017.
California was not anywhere near totality. Okay.
Exactly. So that was just them in in a partial eclipse. And something else that I try to make people realize, this is not just a 4-minute event. Most people say, well, it's just going to go completely dark, right? And I'm like, no. You're an event that's about 2 hours and 40 minutes. For example, here in Marianna, where I live, we're not in the path of totality, but our partial eclipse is 2 hours and 37 minutes, almost 2 hours and 38 minutes. And so, we have to think about the challenge that it ends at 3:15 in the afternoon. What's happening at 3:15? Kids are getting on buses. So, Arkansas Department of Education is already talking about that. Some of the challenges is just, challenges are getting all of these state and federal agencies together to say, hey, we've got to work together. We have to make this the best event possible. But here's also on that flip side, as I tell people, we can do nothing but plan Eclipse from today until April 7th of 2024.
Right.
There's still going to be traffic jams. Somebody's still going to run out of water. Somebody's still going to run out of food. Some banks won't order enough money from, the Fed. My mom works at a bank, to stock their ATMs. And so it is sometimes a little overwhelming to remember things that it's not just the tourism industry. It's everybody.
Yeah, it's everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I think with us in Arkansas is that, again, I go back to the highest levels of totality are in the ruralest parts of Arkansas.
Yep.
And, we need the rural areas to understand exactly what's happening, because if they don't, the attitude is it's just going to happen. We'll deal with it. Well, if that's your attitude and you don't bring in extra resources, then the resources from the larger counties are going to have to go service those areas. And it's going to be very taxing on them to do that. So I think that, obviously, the larger metropolitan areas, the larger counties, the larger cities have more of a wherewithal, to deal with this on the front end. But I warn anybody out there in the rural area that it's so important that you do everything you can to get prepared for the amount of people that are going to come into your area. Even though you don't have lodging, you don't have food, or you don't have attractions, they're still going to come into your area.
They're going to stop at the gas station. They're going to go to the Quickie Mart in there,
So you really need to think about that and get active and have the resources to be able to protect your area and to be able to service your area, knowing that you may get 100 times the number of people in your rural area coming in. So we only may see 2 or 3 times the population of Fort Smith come in, but some small little community again may see thousands of people coming into a community that's only 100. So, and then they're all going to have to be serviced, one way or another. So, and again, I applaud Kim and I applaud the Arkansas tourism for really taking a leadership role here and beginning to educate all the different areas across the state. I mean, it's a natural fit for them to do. This is an event. It's considered tourism. So hats off to Kim Williams and everybody at Arkansas, Travis Napper, and even the people at state parks and tourism. That they're all have been educated on what this event can do for Arkansas, and it's great to be a part of it. And I think that anything that we can learn, and I know Kim's this way, we're willing to share with.
Absolutely.
So if you want to know more about Fort Smith, fortsmith.org is our website. We will be building out pages of that website that are 100% Eclipse related over the next few months, and we'll continue to populate those pages with more and more information. So if there's anything that we can do for anybody that's out there listening to help you better get prepared, we'll share what we know and give you the resources that we know.
Right. So, and it will be arkansas.com for the
arkansas.com/eclipse. If you go there now, there's a lovely countdown. I think we're less than 500 days. I've been on the road so much I've not checked it.
all right.
And if people have questions, my email is easy to remember. It's kim.williams@arkansas.gov. And I will talk to anyone and go, visit communities as I continue to do throughout at least this year and into next. Because I have to say, again, we talk about the tourism game being competitive. I have not had one person that I've reached out to in the states that were in the path of totality in 2017 tell me no. They're like, I'm going to get you a list of names. Here are all of these different documents. Let me know if there's anything we can do. That has been so amazing to me over these last 2.5 years.
That's great. That's great.
It's
Arkansas is also not not foreign to big events. I mean, I know that the Bikes, Blues, and Barbecue event up in Fayetteville attracts hundreds of thousands of motorcyclists. Okay, many of those people come from out of state. What other events, big events, do happen in the state of Arkansas that you're aware of?
Well, there's always lots of larger events in Little Rock and Hot Springs. Then you've got some festivals like over here in Eastern Arkansas, the King Biscuit Blues Festival in Helena, which is every October. There have been years where they literally would see 100,000 people over 4 days.
Right.
Even some of our smaller festivals in my little hometown of 4,000 people. Usually every September we have Autumn on the Square in our historic downtown square.
Mm-hmm.
And the population of Marianna doubles of people just coming back that have lived here or, from neighboring communities. But as I was speaking to the folks in Heber Springs today, which is of course right there on Greers Ferry Lake and near the Little Red River, they're a tourist community. They're a small community, but they are a tourist community. They have big events. There are times, especially during the summer months, that they will double their population. You look at Hot Springs during racing season and things like that. So a lot of our communities are accustomed to it. And Fort Smith is accustomed to it.
Yeah, we see, again, we pull so many people from Oklahoma. I mean, we have the Oklahoma Arkansas State Fair right here in Fort Smith. We have the rodeo. We have the Peacemaker Festival. We have a Steel Horse Rally, bike rally, motorcycle rally. We have, even our mayor's 4th of July picnic brings in 50,000 people, the Peacemaker Festival. So we have conventions all the time that could be, from 5 to 3,000 people. So, we're definitely used to having, at least half or up to half of our population come in for events, but this is a little bit different.
This is a couple of magnitudes more. That's
going to be
true.
a couple of magnitudes above that. So, and that's good though, because we're acclimated to that. And the great thing about Fort Smith is that we have our fire and our police and our EMS and emergency management understand the value of bringing people into our community.
Yes.
So they open it, they have open arms when we say, we need to close this street or we need to do this or whatever we need to do. In the essence of safety is we bring these large amounts of people in here because they know that creates economic spending for our local businesses, creates jobs. And what we're doing is enhancing the quality of life for our local residents off of people visiting our destination.
That's right.
And it's great to be in a community where your city, your administrators, your mayor, your police, your fire, your EMS, emergency management all understand that, because there's other areas that don't, and they don't want to have to deal with that. But here and in most of the areas of Arkansas, they embrace that.
Yeah,
because they understand the value.
Agreed.
Well, I am excited as I know you guys are. Perhaps we'll have you on at a later time as things have marched on, maybe a few more months, and we could get another report of what's going on with the Eclipse for Arkansas. But I really do thank you for coming on to our show and to help our listening audience understand, the background of what it takes to get ready for an event like this, and why you should go, so especially to Arkansas. So.
Yes, please.
Well, Scott, I want to tell you, we really appreciate your expertise and your knowledge and your recommendations and stuff that you provided in the short time that we've known you.
Well, thanks. And we're of course we're always here, and also too for both of you. What I don't know, I know people who do know. Okay, so I'm very happy to get people connected to you. So if there's a major event you want a speaker for or something like that related to the eclipse, let me know and we'll try to arrange that. Okay?
Same. That's what I tell people. I may not know the answer, but I guarantee you I know somebody.
That's right.
Just give me, an hour. But yes, I agree, Scott. Thank you for everything.
All right. Well, thanks very much. And I think we're going to call that the end of the program. today. You guys watching, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you all.
I'm ready.
Oh
You are
man,
already. Son.
hold on. Hold on. I
Oh
haven't.
yeah, wait.
I
Okay,
have
I
a
got mine
pair.
too.
Oh man. Wait, there they are.
These are real because you can't see anything.
Okay, so these
Wouldn't that be
are,
cool if I could just reach over and you pick them up? Okay.
these are our early Arkansas branded glasses.
Yeah, make sure you
We
buy
put-
safe solar
Yes.
eclipse glasses.
Just remember, we put the AR in solar eclipse.
All
Check
right,
this
that's
plug.
great. Well, thank you so much again.
Thank
Let's
you,
see.
Scott.
I'm going to bring it all on me just for a moment here. And again, thanks to the audience, and share this particular video for others so that they might learn about the resources that are here in Arkansas that could be shared. If your state is still trying to figure this thing out, give these guys a call because they'll share what they know. Thank you and take care.
Yes, service, please. Okay, can you hear me?